Hello students. Now we will look at the topic soil conservation, which is a part of your soil pollution chapter. Okay, so when you're talking about soil pollution, we'll not continuously discussing about how the soil is polluting, what are polluting the soil, what is the effect of soil pollution, how it is affecting the environment. We will also look at soil conservation. Okay, so by the term itself you might have understood what is soil conservation. Okay, now basically soil conservation refers to the prevention of loss of the topsoil by soil erosion or prevention of decreased fertility caused by acidification. So I told you that if various chemicals are put, then the topsoil gets acidified. So I have already told you that pH of the soil is 5.5 to 7. Okay, so by acidification means less than 5 point in this way, basicity means in this way. Okay, right? Okay, now soil conservation is the prevention of soil loss from erosion, that I already told you, or prevention of decreased fertility caused by acidification, overusage, sanitization or other chemical contamination. So if you are using it more, if you are using the soil again and again, then the soil will decrease in its nutrients and the fertility will be lost, and then you have sanitation or salinization. Salinization means adding more salts to the crop, which will also decrease the fertility. Okay, or other chemical soil contamination. Okay, now some methods normally adopted for soil conservation. So we'll see these methods one by one. The first one is terrace farming. So you might have already seen what do you mean by terrace farming. Okay, now terrace farming is one of the very good methods of soil conservation. A terrace is a leveled section of hilly cultivated areas. So say for example, in this way, if the hill is like this, you will have a terraces like this. Okay, so these are terraces. Okay, now owing to its unique structure, it prevents the rapid surface runoff of water. So when you have terrace farming, when the water is flowing in this way, the water will hold here for some time, then it will go down, it will again hold, then it will go down and it will again hold it, again hold, and it will again hold. So what is happening here? The running off of water is prevented. Okay, right? So the running off of water is prevented. That's is terrace farming. Then terracing gives the landmass a stepped appearance, thus slowing the easy washing down of the soil. So what will happen? Even the soil, if it is getting eroded from the mountains, what will happen? That soil will come and get deposited over the terraces which we have created on the mountain. Okay, and they will not allow the soil to run off just like that. They will get deposited here. Some of the soil will get deposited over here, and the erosion of the soil, it can be stopped and the soil can be conserved in this particular manner. Okay, now dry stone walling is a method used to create terrace. So dried stone walling, you already know, stones are kept. Okay, stones are kept like stacks here. Okay, so the walls, they are given like stones. Okay, right? So the stones will not allow the water to completely run out. Okay, right? Now next method is afforestation. So we have seen in our previous classes also about afforestation, that is planting more trees. Now why we have to plant more trees? Because the roots of the plant hold the soil very, very firmly. Okay, so when they hold these plant very, very firmly, the soil is gripped very, very firmly. And when the soil is gripped very firmly, then the soil, there is no chance that the soil can just erode away. Okay, so that is why afforestation is done. Okay, then we all know that the roots of trees firmly hold the soil, as I just told you. As trees grow tall, they also keep rooting deeper into the soil. So as the size of the tree increases, the root also increases, because it has to supply the demand of the tree. Okay, height of the tree as well. Then soil, they contribute to the prevention of soil erosion. Obviously, so I told you that roots will tightly hold the soil together. So in that way also soil can be conserved. Then we'll go to the third one, which is non-till farming. So you know what the process of tilling is. Tilling is nothing but plowing the soil before planting the next crop. So soil is prepared for farming by plowing it. So this process is basically called as tilling. Now in non-till farming, it is a way of growing crops without disturbing it through tillage. So it is a way of growing crops without disturbing it by plowing again the soil. Okay. Now the process of tilling is beneficial in mixing fertilizers in the soil, okay, shaping it into rows and preparing a surface for sowing. Okay. So it is helpful in mixing the fertilizers. That is the first thing. Okay. So fertilizers will get mixed in the soil when non-till farming is done. Then shaping it into rows and preparing a surface for sowing. So non-tilling will also help us in preparing the surface for sowing. Okay. But the tilling activity can lead to compaction of the soil. Okay. So compaction of the soil, that this is a disadvantage of non-till farming. It can lead to the compactness of the soil. The soil will be gripped together. So when that is happening, organic matter in the soil reduces, and organic matter in the soil, loss of organic matter in the soil and death of organisms in the soil. So that when that compactness is there, there is no aeration coming to those organisms which are living in that particular region. So they will die. No-till farming is a way to prevent soil from being affected by these adversities. So these adversities can be prevented by no-till farming. Okay, right? So tilling activity, it can lead to all these complications, that is compactness of soil, loss of organic matter and death of the organisms in the soil. But no-till farming will prevent that and conserve the soil. Then you have contour ploughing. Okay, when I say contour ploughing, it is a method of ploughing across the contour lines of a slope. Okay, so you have a contour line like this. Okay, you have a contour line like this, and it is a method of ploughing across the contour line. So you have a ploughing which is done across these contour lines of a slope. This method helps in slowing the water runoff and prevents the soil from being washed away along with the slope. So what is the purpose of this method? This method helps in slowing down the water. Just like your terrace farming, this is also a similar method to terrace farming, but you have contours here. Okay, you plow along the contours. So when you do that, the soil water holding capacity will increase. Okay, that is one thing. Okay, and the soil will not get washed away along with the slope. Okay, right? So that is basically what is contour ploughing. Okay, then you have crop rotation. This is very, very basic thing that people do, that the farmers do. It is a method of growing a series of dissimilar crops in areas sequentially. So say for example, if there are 2 rows of crops here, one type of crop here, the third row will be a different crop. Okay, right? Now it's a method of growing a series of dissimilar crops in an area sequentially. Crop rotation also helps in improving the soil structure and fertility. Okay, so say for example, if you are growing some say brinjal plant, okay, in two lines, in the third line you can grow a leguminous crop. Okay, so when you do that, whatever nitrogen is taken by the brinjal plant, the legume plant will replenish that. Okay, so that way crop rotation is very, very useful for us. Then you have soil pH. Now I told you that the pH of the soil should be around 5.5 to 7. Okay, now if this is maintained, okay, then the soil is very fertile. Okay, right? Now the contamination of soil by addition of acidic or basic pollutants and acid rain, the soil pHs and acid rains, I'm so sorry, there's a full stop here, right? So the concentration of soil by addition of acidic or basic pollutants and acid rains. So there is a contamination of the soil which is occurring because of acidic and basic pollutants and acids rains. Okay, these are the agents which contaminate the soil. Okay, they will contaminate the soil. Okay, then soil pH is one of the determinants of availability of nutrients in the soil. So If the soil pH is less than 5.5, it is considered as acidic, and if it is more than 7, it is considered as basic. So, if the soil pH is varying like that, then the yield of the crop will be reduced. Okay? Why? The uptake of nutrients in plants also governed by certain extent by the soil pH. So, in the soil pH, if the soil pH is less than 5.5 or greater than 7, then what will happen? The nutrient uptake also will is going to be affected. So, why is it affected? Because the microorganisms, whatever are there which are helping the plant to absorb nutrients, all these will behave in such a way that because of the pH, the plant will not be able to take them or absorb them through the roots. Okay, right? Then you have watering the soil. Now, watering the soil, why do we water the soil? Because wind is an agent for soil erosion. So, if we don't water the soil, then because of the wind, the soil can be eroded. So, watering the soil is a very important part of soil conservation because it prevents wind erosion, okay, of the soil. Okay, then salinity management. Now, salinity of the soil is detrimental to the vegetative life in the soil. Okay. Now, the death of vegetation is bound to cause soil erosion. Hence, salinity management is one of the indirect ways to conserve soil. So, salinity management, what happens if the salinity is way too high? Okay, if the salinity is way too high, then what will happen? The vegetation will get affected. Okay, the vegetation will die basically. If that is happening, then the yield of the crop will be reduced. So, high salinity management, hence salinity management is one of the indirect ways of controlling or conserving soil, okay, from soil erosion, and also from making the soil fertile. Okay, right? Now, soil organisms. Now, organisms like earthworms, you know that earthworms are called as farmers' friends. Why? Because they are underground dwellers. Okay. So, when they move around the soil, when they move through the soil, not around the soil, when they move through the soil, what is happening there? They are creating air gaps in between. Okay. So, when they are creating air gaps in between, that is sufficient for the plant to absorb the air. In turn, it also absorbs nutrients. Okay, right. Now, organisms like earthworms and other benefiting the soil should be promoted. That's what I just said. Earthworms through aerations of soil enhance the availability of macronutrients to the soil. That is the advantage. Okay, so the air can enter and the nutrients also can be absorbed by the plant. Okay, so these what these earthworms do, they enhance the porosity of the soil. Okay, they enhance the porosity of the soil. Okay, right. So that is what about soil organisms. And the last one is indigenous crops. Okay, so planting of native crops is known to be beneficial for soil conservation. Okay, now if you plant native crops, the plant which grows in that particular area, it is particularly useful for soil conservation. If non-native plants are grown, the field should be bordered by indigenous crops to prevent soil erosion. So say for example, you are growing a non-indigenous crop. Okay, so if you say for example, for that area, that particular crop is not suitable, but you are trying to cultivate it. Okay, when you are trying to cultivate it, you have to have a boundary of indigenous crops, that is a native crops. Okay, so that will prevent the soil erosion and achieve soil conservation. Okay, right. So these are the 10 ways in which soil can be conserved. Okay, so like terrace farming, afforestation, then you have your soil conservation. Okay, that is no-till farming, contour ploughing, crop rotation. Then you have soil pH, watering the soil, salinity management, soil organisms, and indigenous crops. So these are the various methods which are involved in soil conservation. So I hope that you have understood this session very well. I'll see you soon in the next one. Thank you so much.